Hello there. Coming up on Marketplace, as government reopens Kotoka International Airport tomorrow, we assess its implications on airlines battered by COVID-19. Securities and Exchange Commission expected to commence payment of locked-up investments to investors. This will, however, cover 22 fund management firms that it has been able to validate claims of depositors so far. And also, Kantanka seeks $100 million investment fund to expand as Ghana's automobile market takes shape. Hello there and welcome. I'm Charles Aite with the details. Passengers who patronize the Kotoka International Airport for international travels must check in 4 hours before their flight. Now, this was revealed by the managing director of the company, Yao Kwakwa, when he explained new COVID-19 protocols ahead of the reopening of the airport company tomorrow. So far, management of the Kotoka International Airport, together with the Nguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, have tested a COVID-19 PCR detection kit expected to curtail the importation of COVID-19 cases. Let's hear from Yao Kwakwa.
When someone arrives in Ghana, it is mandatory for any airline coming to Ghana to ensure that passengers have face masks on. But we know that some of our people will be coming from afar. If you are traveling from London, you probably travel like 6 hours. And so when you land at Kotoka Airport, and you come through the passenger boarding bridge, when you get to the edge of entering the terminal building, we give you a fresh face mask. Under the responsibility and control of Port Health, there's a service provider who we are using to do all of this. So we give you the face mask, and then you start going through the process. When you enter, you go to the far end of one side of our fingers at the upper arrival, and then you queue to go through a payment center. By the way, the testing is going to be at the expense of each passenger at a cost of $150. Now, one convenience that the Honorable Minister says talking about was the fact that there's no country, there's no country that you can almost go through the terminal building like you used to do and still be able to get your results, and if you are negative and the health professional deem you to be without the virus to come into the country, it's Ghana. We are the first to do so. In Germany, it takes minimum 3 hours to even get that done. And so, like His Excellency indicated yesterday, it takes a maximum of 30 minutes for a particular passenger to go through the entire process, get to Port Health, and there at Port Health, that person is told, because the results will be ready, that he is negative, and therefore he can exit the terminal building and come into the country.
Now, government says that all travelers coming to Ghana by air are supposed to pay $150 for COVID-19 testing. Now, the mandatory testing, which is to be conducted for all passengers coming into the country, forms part of directives outlined by the Ministry of Aviation and the Health Authority to curb the spread of COVID-19. Here to Deputy Health Minister, Dr. Okoboy.
And as stakeholders involved in COVID management, and of course, for that matter, the government, we were also very much interested in the cost of the test. We wanted to make sure that the cost of the test would not put unnecessary difficulty or burden on the passenger. Now, we quickly looked at what is being charged across the globe. So when you go to a place like Zimbabwe, you pay about $210 for the test. If in China, you pay about $150 for the test. And they are doing PCR, which is a very good test that identifies the virus itself. And in China, after paying $150, you have to wait for about 6 hours average before you get results. When you go to Togo here, you pay about 150 euros, not dollars. In Benin, you are paying about 150 euros. In fact, I just got the figures for Nigeria. You pay about $130, and not only that, you have to go to a hotel and wait for results, which can be 1 or 2 nights. So if you are paying about $100 for the night, in all you are spending close to $300 for just making sure that you are safe of the virus or free of the virus. Now, So with all these considerations, remember that anyone coming to Ghana must have a negative PCR test. On the average in Europe, if you should enter a lab, not even the airport, to do a PCR test, you are looking at average 100 euros. So what do we do in Ghana, or how do we look at it? So we sat down and looked at a solution we had. Now, there is a good reason why a PCR test is the most preferred, or one of the gold standard. It's because it tells you that the virus is present. And not only that, but for academic purposes, it can give you some parts of the virus that over time, when you put together, you can have what we refer to as a complete genome, which is the whole map of the virus. Here at the airport, forgive me, it's not about academic research. We are interested in two things. The test must be very specific and sensitive, which means it must tell us that this guy has the virus if he has it. And if the test says it's negative, really, you pose no risk to Ghanaians. And we got a solution that was checked at Noguchi, checked with FDA, checked with Ghana Standards Board, and came out with a specificity and sensitivity rate of between 99 to 100%.
Now, on his part, the Minister for Aviation, Joseph Kofi Adda, indicated that domestic airlines like Africa World Airlines can begin their usual routes outside the country.
AWA can now fly to other countries also.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they can. Indeed, AWA has been flying. They've had special flights out to Liberia and I think to Guinea as well. So they've done that even during the lockdown. They had special permission to do that. So they're open to go to Nigeria, other parts of the country, but they must stick to the protocols. So they're all open and we encourage them to do that.
Now, in all of this, government is expected to have an emergency meeting with all airlines ahead of the reopening. Ahead of this meeting, I engaged the Chief Operations Officer of Africa World Airlines, Shen Mendes.
In place a number of protocols. In fact, these are industry-leading protocols at various steps of the entire process, from when you arrive at the airport, where your temperature will be screened, where you will be ensured that you're wearing face masks, hand sanitizers available at all various points. Your check-in process is contactless, where our staff do not come in contact with your documents. Your checked-in baggage is disinfected prior to loading on the aircraft. You go through a contactless security procedure and boarding. All passengers have their hands sanitized before boarding the aircraft. Crew maintain, again, social distance from the passengers. We have not allocated, we ensure that no passengers have another adult sitting next to them. There are exceptions for children. Similarly, your bags are disinfected when they arrive at the destination. All in all, we've done everything we can to ensure that every step that we can take to ensure that passengers are flying safely with us has been taken.
So where do you see this in the short to medium term?
I think in the short term, it's important that we get the confidence of the traveling public back. Aviation is the safest form of transport in Ghana, bar none. When you're setting foot in a plane, you're actually breathing air that is cleaner than the air that you're probably breathing in some parts of the city, for sure. And with the various other protocols we've taken, which is disinfecting planes after every single flight on all contact surfaces, you actually are in the safer situation. As more and more people realize that, we've seen consistently that the demand has also been growing since the end of the movement restrictions. And obviously right now we're only operating domestic flights. At the appropriate time, I'm sure the government will reopen the borders, and at that point we're going to have the same mission to convince passengers on international flights that every step that can be taken to ensure their safety has been taken.
Well, that's Shen Mendes there, the CEO of the Africa World Airlines, on how prepared they are ahead of the reopening. Let's now get in touch with an aviation expert to help put it all into perspective, matters regarding the reopening and what exactly is at stake. Enoch is an aviation expert and he joins us. Many thanks, Enoch, for your time here with us. First of all, how timely is the reopening to the airline industry now that we have Kotika International Airport open to international travel? How timely has this move been?
Thank you very much for having me. And for me, I think it's very important that the airport is open for international travel because airlines don't make profit once the aircraft are grounded. They rather make losses. So I think the businesses need to come back to service. So I think it's best for us to reopen the airport for us to do the business.
Great. Now, to the next question, but if you could reposition yourself a little bit and, kind of project. What do you make of the COVID-19 protocols and PCR testing, which requires a 250 to 500 cedi charge? Do you think it will add on to the cost of travel moving forward?
Definitely, this is going to be a cost to the airline. Sorry, the cost to the passenger in a way. It will really prevent them from traveling in the first place. But compared to the 14 days, anti-measures is better than that one. So definitely it's going to be a cost to them. So it's better off than the other one as well.
Great. Now, Enoch, some airlines say that they had no idea of this reopening tomorrow. And for that reason, the ministry will today hold an emergency meeting on that particular issue of how prepared most of them are. What are you looking out for in this crucial meeting?
To say they have no prior information, I bet to do so, because the airline industry works hand in hand with the civil aviation authority as well as the other ministries and other stakeholders. So what do the airline mean by not having prior information today? But whatever that happens, I am hopeful that the ministry will address what needed to be addressed at the meeting. So that is basically.
Great. Now, this is the first time we've had Ghana's international airport get closed to international travels, all due to COVID-19. How do you assess the entire reopening process so far?
Come again, please.
How do you assess the reopening process so far, especially when this is the first time we're having to close our air travels to, the outside world, all due to COVID-19?
Okay. I think such a difficult time that we are in now, and I believe the appropriate people are doing their best to ensure a smooth one by putting forth the necessary protocols. So generally, our level of preparedness, I think, is up-notch as compared to what other countries and other airlines, other countries are doing. So we are doing our best, and hopefully we'll get there.
Now, you have been in close touch with so many, workers within the aviation space. I mean, you've been interacting with them all this while. COVID-19, we've seen so many of them lose their jobs, millions of jobs worldwide. What are they telling you now?
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate, but I think as an individual, once you work with an airline, industry, unfortunately, is a very volatile one. So we need to have skills. We need to build capacity. So once there is a devastation that we have to, people need to be laid off. You have skills that you can transfer onto other things. But with regards to the people I've spoken to so far with, a couple of them have established micro businesses and they are running, and I think they will be fine with that. Also, they will be able to sustain themselves with it.
Enoch Akli, we're so grateful that you joined us. He's an aviation expert. He's been putting everything into perspective for us, from the impact on workers, as you just heard, to the various dynamics on how best they could reopen and reposition themselves now that the airport is going to be reopened on September 1. Let's take a short break. We'll return with more business stories. You're still watching The Marketplace with me, Charles Aite. And welcome to The Marketplace. Now, from aviation, we move to the automobile space, because local automobile company Kantanka is in need of a capital injection of $100 million for expansion works. General Manager of the company, Francis Kojokujoji, disclosed this to Joy Business and stated that the company is also exploring possible partnerships in the coming months.
You see, the initiative that we've taken is going to spring up other initiatives from different sectors. So as Kantanka is assembling, other sector that we are looking at is the automotive tire assembling plant. We have natural rubber here. We have artificial synthetic rubber. We have all the additives that adds up in making an automotive tire. Why are we delaying? So once we've started, another person or a certain group of people can also decide to go into tire manufacturing, which, if we even do that alone in Ghana, we can save the whole of Africa and West Africa. We need so much to expand.
$100 million.
$100 million would be enough for us to expand and then get to wherever we want to get to. Like I said previously, duties on these smaller cars will be up to about 15,000 Ghana cedis. And if we are selling it for 45,000 or 50,000. And it means we are adding another 15,000 to it to make 65,000. Now that the duty is off, so we thought of, we were waiting, we were marking time for this opportunity to come. And once it is in, that is why we started with the smaller cars. And you are going to see them more on the market. Interestingly, we have two different models. The one with the engine, the traditional engine type, and then the one with the non-engine type, which uses lithium battery, and then it runs like an electric car. We have electric car and then the traditional engine one. So interestingly, we are going to enter into the market forcefully, and very soon, like I've been saying, Kantanka will be we have blazed the trail already. This we've estimated producing like 15 of these in a day. Times if you are working for 20-25 days, it's so much. We are looking at about 400 or 500 units in a month. By late this year, early next year, we are going to start.
Now, the Deputy Chief Director of Operations at the Drivers and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, Prince Opoku Edusei, says the processes of his outfit must be re-engineered to suit the current assembly of vehicles in the country. According to him, the DVLA is now readjusting its systems to pull data from other sources other than from the Customs Department for the registration of vehicles.
Things are regulated by the Road Traffic Act and the Road Traffic Regulations of 2012-2180. At the time the regulation was promulgated or passed, we had not envisaged we would get into this automotive industry that we find ourselves in now. But there are standards. There are standards that every vehicle has to comply with. And I know that we have had a number of discussions and meetings with especially Volkswagen to find out how we can fit the vehicles that they produce within our registration system. The first point of registering any vehicle, or the first source of data for us, or the primary source of data for registering any vehicle, is the customs database. Previously the GCNet, now the ICOMS. And so we pull data on every vehicle direct from the customs database before we go ahead to register any vehicle. Now these vehicles that are being produced certainly wouldn't be in that database. So we need to re-engineer our processes to suit the vehicles that are being produced in the country. And those discussions have begun in their own.
Now, Ghana has not violated any ECOWAS protocol or the rules regarding the World Trade Organization on trade. That's the position on government fighting back claims of harassing Nigerian citizens in the country. Now, the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah fought, against most of these claims, stating that Ghana is not in any way making business for Nigerian people here in the country difficult. According to the minister, the actions by the regulatory agencies, which includes the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Trade, is rather to enforce the country's domestic laws when it comes to retail trade.
We remain committed to the maintenance of warm relations with all sister nations, particularly for well-known historical reasons, with the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Ghana is proceeding to engage the federal government of Nigeria with a view to resolving comprehensively and exhaustively any matters that have the potential to sour relations between the two countries. And those engagements have started. But at the same time, we believe it is important to set the record straight on some of the accusations, and that's why we've provided a full detail of the accusations that are made against Ghana and our responses therein. And we are optimistic that the diplomatic conversations would ensure that the facts are laid bare and that the cordial relationship between Ghana and Nigeria continues. There are discussions that are encouraged between the leadership of GUTA and all other persons that are trading in the Ghanaian jurisdiction. It is not a matter of nationality simpliciter. It is a matter of the laws of Ghana and what those laws mean for the kind of business you want to do in Ghana. Government has also been quite clear that there are agencies in this country that are seized with dealing with the laws of this country. So if somebody is not paying their taxes, whether he's Ghanaian or Lebanese or Pakistani or American, the Ghana Revenue Authority, as you have seen over and over again, goes in sometimes to close their shops. It is not because they are Ghanaian or Pakistani or American, but it is because they are not honoring their tax obligations. If somebody is not honoring their EPA obligations, or is not honoring their municipal assembly duties, like happens in your various businesses, the agencies responsible move in to deal with it because it is in breach of that particular law. And it is important that there's clear understanding of that. That is how we are handling it at this point in time. It is true that our Nigerian colleagues closed their semi-Krake border, I think from about August last year. We sent a delegation, the minister responsible for trade, the minister responsible for foreign affairs, to the border, to Nigeria, to engage with them. We were not successful in that enterprise because they argued that they were protecting their national interest, and we have not been successful in that enterprise. And we continue to engage on that front. But the conversation that Nigerians are being targeted in Ghana is one that we must reject outright, because that is not the situation. If persons are found foul of Ghana's laws, be they Ghanaians, Americans, Nigerians, Pakistanis, the laws of Ghana will apply in that regard.
Taxi Limited has introduced electronic vehicles into the Ghanaian transport sector. Now, the vehicles, which come in different types, is the first of its kind to be introduced in Ghana for commercial usage. Marketing associate of SolarTaxi, Barbara Tichi, walks us through the pricing of the newly launched electronic vehicles.
Barbara here, who is marketing team. Barbara, talk to me about the pricing and everything with regards to this particular car.
So please, this hatchback goes for 100,000 Ghana cedis. That's for an outright purchase. And then the rentals goes for 800 cedis a month. And then the SUV is 200,000 Ghana cedis. And the rental a month is 1,000 cedis.
So is it that when you are leasing it, that's when it goes for 800 Ghana cedis a month? Do you do leasing?
For now, we don't do leasing. It's just the renting and the purchasing.
So you say the purchasing goes for?
The hatchback or the coupe, it's 100,000 cedis, and the renting is 800 cedis a month.
To purchase it outrightly, do you have any payment schedule that I can go with?
No, please. It's a ready cash, like a cash down payment. We don't do.
I can't come and give you half of the amount.
Come and follow you. No, we don't do that. But if you want to rent, the least you can do is 1 month. So let's say 2 months and you are taking this, it's 1,600. So you pay 30 to 50% of the 1,600, and in 2 weeks' time, we will send you a notification that maybe you have to pay. You pick up your car in, let's say, 3rd or 6th September. Then on that date, you top up your remaining balance and you come and pick it up.
Thank you. All right. So this is the SUV, right? So how much is this going for?
This is going for 1,200 Ghana cedis, please.
That's for renting?
No, that's for purchase.
That's for purchase?
Yes, please. And the rent,
outrightly? Yes,
please. And then the rent goes for 1,000 cedis a month.
So
SolarTaxis, let's see how that goes. Well, that's it by way of the marketplace this afternoon.